Hiya, my name's Charlie and welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be showing you all the classics on my physical TBR. So all the classics I physically have copies of. I'm going to probably try and go from like from more modern classics to sort of more Victorian type classics. So roughly in order, but obviously don't sue me if you notice that things are out of sync. So I'm going to dive right in. Actually, first of all, I've got I'm going to start off with one that I have already started reading, because you can sort of see it's tugged up a little bit. It's Uncle Tom's Children by Richard Wright. I've read two Richard Wrights before. I've read Native Son and Black Boy, one of which is, so Native Son is one of his most famous, Richard Wright's most famous stories, and Black Boy is his memoir. This is a short story collection by him, and yeah, like I said, I have started reading it. I've read a few of them, but I just need to keep going with it and try and finish it. But yeah, these quite a lot of Richard Wright's stories are quite dark and sort of brutal in their discussion, obviously. But yeah, I am excited nonetheless because I do like his writing. So we go through my Du Mauriers. Yes, we'll go through my Du Mauriers next. I have read quite a few Du Mauriers, but obviously, as you can see, I've still got quite a lot left to go. So the first one is Flight of the Falcon. This was kindly gifted to me by Charlie of Charles Heathcote. Links there and there as always. Yeah, and I don't know anything about it. A lot of these you'll know a lot of these I won't know anything about, and I don't want to look up the premise of them, because obviously with classics, when you look up the synopsis, a lot of the time they spoil the whole story. So yeah, one I want to get to as all of them. And I've got The King's General. Again, look at this cover. I love the covers of some of these classics. Another one, Marianne. That's beautiful. Look at that. And this book smells gorgeous. I love the smell of old books. And two more Du Mauriers left that I physically own that I haven't read. I've got this is another King's General. Oh, so I've got two copies of the King's General. This is the nicer copy that Emily got me. Thanks, Em. And this is one I actually bought new from the Bell Bookshop, the house in the Strand. I'm so excited to read this because I know Leo in particular from Leo's Little Book Life, whose Instagram I will link down below, adores this book. So yeah, this is probably, out of the Du Mauriers, this is like probably the highest one up on my TBR. I do need to read it. Another sort of modern classic is Westwood by Stella Gibbons. Bookish Girl. Set in the wartime London, Westwood tells the story of Margaret Steggles, a plain bookish girl whose mother has told her she's not the type that attracts men. So yeah. As with any of these, if you spot one that you know and you've read and you've loved and you want me to prioritise, please do say in the comments, because like obviously the feedback is important, because I can know which ones are the best ones to read. The classics that get the most comment, maybe I can make like a TBR for of like one of the other months. So yeah. Another one that's quite a famous one, Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. Alice Walker book, Possessing the Secret of Joy. I think this will be quite hard and quite brutal, I think, potentially, because obviously Alice Walker is most famous for The Colour Purple, which is just a beautiful, beautiful book. Yeah, I think that book follows some of the characters potentially that are in The Colour Purple. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong. Right. Next one is one that's KD Books' favourite classic, and actually this is one that is on my TBR for the year anyway, because it's one of the BookTuber's favourite books. I'm trying to read BookTuber's favourites this year, and this is Kieran's one. So yeah. The next one I have is Not Without Laughter by Langston Keys. I have a poetry collection by Langston Keys on my Kindle to read, which I'm excited for, but this is a sort of coming of age sort of story set in the 1930s, and yeah, it's kind of a sad story, obviously, I think. And I know that Peter from Comfy Cozy Up has read this, and I think she read this, was it either the beginning of this year or the end of last year, and she was talking about this one, and she said that, I think it was last year, and she said how great it was. So yeah, another one that I am excited, obviously, as with all of these books, because I wouldn't own them otherwise. Actually, if there's any that you don't like, please do tell me, and then maybe I can clear some of them off my TV shelf. So, because it works both ways. Favourites get bumped up, and the ones that are rubbish I'll just bin off. So yeah, I've got two that speaking of binning off, but I'm not going to bin these off, but that have been sat on my shelves. But I think the longest is Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winifred Watson. I've got two of the Persephone classics. And Persephone obviously print these beautiful like grey grey covers, but they have these gorgeous end papers, and they always come with matching bookmarks. So yeah, this is one that I think was made into a film, I believe, and it's like I feel like it's a bit of a booktube darling, because lots of people have mentioned this one. So yeah, and I think I did originally at one point ended up with 2 copies of this. I think I've given my other copy to Emily. So Emily, if you haven't read it yet, do you want to read it? Let me know. The other Persephone one, which I feel like quite a lot of people on BookTube own this. It's the Persephone book of short stories. But lots of people, I guess lots of booktubers own this, but lots of booktubers, I wonder how many of them have actually read it. So if you're not a booktuber, if any of you that own this collection of, any of you that own this and want to read it, maybe we could try and arrange some sort of like buddy read or group read or something of this, so we can try and actually get this book off our shelves, because it should be really easy, because there's to divide up into short stories and just read so many, but we shall see. So let me know if you want to do that. I have got some poetry. I've got selected poems by John Donne. I think this is one that Julie from Hungry Bookworm got for me quite a few years ago. So yeah, I have started to read this, starting to get into the more classics, but actually I've got some Agatha Christie's that I haven't read first. Obviously Agatha Christie has got loads and loads of books out, so and I have read a few, but these are the ones that I physically own that I haven't read. The Murder of Rodger Ackroyd. Again, this is like a very famous one of hers that lots of people bang on about. So Ordeal by Innocence, obviously, and so I think this has obviously been a BBC adaptation. Yes, that's what it says in the cover. I've got The Secret Adversary, Miss Marple. I've never read any of the Marples, even though I feel like this is the only one I own. The next one is At Bertram's Hotel. I literally just watched a video last night by Modern Ajama, and she was saying about this is like one of her favourite, hers and Charlie's favourite books, I think, or something like that. So so potentially this is one I need to bump up as well, obviously. Have I read this one? So maybe this doesn't need to be on. No? Have I read it? I have read this. Ooh, I can take this off at Christie's, Hercule Poirot's Christmas. I think I've read this one. Or did I read the pudding one? I may have read this one. I can't remember. I've read quite a few Christie. Death Comes at the End. Have I read this as well? Julie, do you remember, have we done a group read of this? This might be one I've read as well. No, I don't think it is. No, this is not one I've read. Right. That was the last of the Christie. The next one I've got is a very famous... loads of these are famous. Orlando by Virginia Woolf. This is one of Woolf's most famous ones, I think. Obviously to do with like gender sort of switching and stuff like that. So this is like kind of was quite modern for the time. So yeah, I can't believe I haven't read this already. How have I not read this already? Loads of people love this. I need to prioritise this because I do like Virginia Woolf's writing. So yeah, I've got a Jean Rhys. I've got Wide Sargasso Sea, which I still haven't read. This has been on quite a few TBRs in previous years' videos. So yeah, maybe I need to unhaul this if I'm not going to read it, because I feel like I've tried to... Do you guys love this? Any of you guys love this? Should it be a keep or chuck? Let me know. Some more poetry. I've got John Keats' selected poems. Charlotte Bronte's selected letters. This is a beautiful edition. I'm excited to read this. I've got Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne, which is I recently watched, or not recently. I loved the BBC adaptation of this that was on the telly fairly recently. Because it was just so much fun. It was just such a great adaptation, and I think actually there's going to be another series of that, side note, FYI. But yeah, so this I want to actually read the physical copy of it, because when I was growing up there was a cartoon version based upon obviously Around the World in 80 Days, which I completely adored. I think it was like following like a lion or something, and if any of you guys watched that, let me know. And yeah, it was like, I'll put a picture on screen of like the TV show. But yeah, that's what, and I still haven't actually read the book, obviously, so this is like, obviously I need to get around to reading it. I think that's actually Oscar's book, actually. Okay, I've got some cloth-bound classics. I've got The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. This is one I picked up when we were visiting the estate of Rudyard Kipling, and obviously I wanted to come away with one of his books from to sort of remember the time that we were there. And even though I've seen obviously the Disney film, I've never actually read the book. So Oliver Twist, obviously, which is a classic tale, and this was a charity shop purchase, which was a steal. This was a complete bargain. So you don't really find cloth-bound classics in charity shops, do you? I've got Wilkie Collins, The Moonstone, which again, this is another one I've had for quite a while. So maybe if I don't read it by the end of the year, I might unhaul it. Generally with classics, I don't feel in that much of a rush to read them. I don't know, you guys like that? Because I always know that they're going to be there, so I kind of don't feel as much of a rush, and I just know that they're not going to like date like that. I'm not going to like get bored of the idea of reading them. I say as wanting to unhaul them, but let me know, is this one you've read and loved? Loads of people I know do adore it, so, but I still think, because I've had it for quite a while, I think maybe I should unhaul it if I don't read it, potentially. I don't know. I'm going to contradict myself. I don't know. Professor by Charlotte Bronte, another Bronte. Next one I've got is The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. Ooh, I've got some Elizabeth Gaskell. I've got North and South. I really, really, really want to read this. Like, this is probably another one that's like super high up on my like wish list. I've got the last Dickens I've got that I physically own is Great Expectations. Obviously this is another sort of rags to riches kind of tale, I think. And I know Emily, again my sister Emily from Naval Novels, adores this book, as I think does Charlie. I think Charlie, is this one of your favourite Dickens? Penultimate book I have is Lorna Doone by R.D. Blackmore. I think this is like an American classic. This was one of my dear friend Emma's dad's favourite books, which is why when I was visiting her, like I picked this up, and again this is another one I really want to read. And lastly, but not leastly, I have got Les Miserables. My husband for my 40th birthday got me a 3 months subscription to Bookishly, and obviously and so this was one of the picks that month, obviously coming in 2 editions. This is quite a commitment. I feel like there's probably been numerous read-alongs of this in the past, so yeah, is this one, I'm not going to get rid of it because this was the present obviously, but yeah, tell me your thoughts on it below. That was all the unread classics I've got on my shelves. It's going to take a job to try and get them back on my shelves later. Fun. But yeah, let me know what are your favourites out of those classics. Let me know if there's ones that you reckon I should chuck, like I already said. Just let me all the thoughts in the comments below. Yeah, take care and sending you guys lots of love.